Hi, Samuel from MFis. In this video I'll show you everything about layout parameters. In MFis wire, every wire is associated with a wire layout. Let's start by creating a new wire layout. We do this by defining a new layer. We name the layer wire layout 1. I make it the current layer. And now I can either just start drawing a wire or selecting wire parameters. In both cases, a new layout is created. I start by drawing a new wire and the layout with default parameters is created. You see below the layer wire layout 1 there are 3 sublayers. If you've seen the overview video over MFis wire, you have already learned what these layers are. In short, this is the wire def layer, wire definition layer. It contains this wire definition object, the wire curve layer, which contains the curve which represents the center line of the wire, and the wire polysurface layer, which contains the object that represents the solid of the wire. Let's now have a look at the layout parameters. The first parameter is the type of bond wire we want to have. We can change it to ball bonding, and we see the source bond will go straight upwards, and we can change it back to wedge bonding. Then we can of course change the diameter. Then the next parameter, penetration. I'll show you what this is. It's easy to see if the wire is a little bit thicker. Okay, let's make a thick wire. And now I will draw something below the wire, kind of metal plate. I create a new layer for that, metal plate. This object I have to change to this layer because I didn't activate it before. I give the layer a brown color. I now extrude this rectangle by using the extrude command. I extrude by 1 millimeter downwards. Okay, now I switch the view mode to shaded. The same you can do here. I've here put these shortcuts, and you see that the wire goes into the metal plate, and how much it goes into the metal plate is defined by this penetration parameter. We can have a look at it from the front. And if we go to ghost it, we have a nice view where we see kind of transparent solids. You can see how the wire penetrates the substrate, the metal plate. So we can adjust, oh sorry, I've been in the wrong layer. I clicked here while this metal plate was the current layer, so it's not what I want to do. I just press Ctrl Z to undo. I have to select this one and now go here, and I can change the layout parameters. If I select 0 for penetration, we see it doesn't penetrate, it just touches the surface of the metal plate. If I put it to 1, it fully goes into the metal plate. 0.5, then only 50% of the wire foot is within the plate. And I set it back to the default value. Okay, the next parameter is the cross-section shape. So default is circular cross-sectional. We can change to polygonal cross-section. And then let's go to the perspective view here. And we see we have now the cross-section made of a hexagonal shape. we can choose the number of side faces of this shape. We can make a triangular shape. And now the question is, how is now the radius interpreted? What does mean 0.3 mm and 0.5 mm in case of a triangular cross section? This can be defined here. Now we have as option equal area as circle, and that means this triangle should be the same area as a circle with 0.5 mm diameter. Let's check whether this is true. What I do is I create an independent copy of this wire by using unlinked wire polysurface. It creates a new layer where this unlinked object is in, and now I change to circular cross section, and also from this wire I create a unlinked object. Now I have two unlinked objects which I can then modify. I select two objects, I explode the objects into individual surfaces. I delete all the surfaces I'm not interested in. Now I have just this cross-sectional surfaces. So, and I can measure the area of the circular cross-section by going to Analyze, Mass Properties, Area. I see 0.196, and this one I repeat the command by pressing enter, and we see it displays the same number. Okay, I don't need this one anymore, this one I keep. Now I turn on the other layers again, that we see it, and let's again change the parameters. So this diameter definition in case of a triangular cross section, let's change it to, first we are here, equal area circle, which is the default. If we put to outer diameter, you see the outer points of the triangle are now on this circle with this diameter, and if I go to inner diameter, this circle touches now the inner side faces of the triangle. Okay, then we also have rectangular cross section, and now we get a kind of ribbon. This one we don't need anymore, this object. And the thickness of the ribbon is defined by the diameter. If I make it 0.2 mm, it's now 0.2 mm thick. And the width of the ribbon is defined here. We can make it very wide, like this. So this is everything about the parameters. Now about having several layouts. We can of course define more layouts. Let's define another one. I give it another color, and we go to the layout parameters dialog. First I have to activate it here. Now I call the dialog. I specify what wire I want to have. I want to have 0.3 mm triangular cross section. Okay, now I can create a wire here, or a stitched wire. Okay, and what happens now if I move one wire to the other layout? For instance, if I take this wire and move it to wire layout 1, of course if it gets ribbon it looks very ugly, but let's now just see how ugly it looks like. Change object layer. Yes, it turns into a kind of, well, looks not too ugly. Yeah. Okay, so you can move one wire to the other layout, and we'll take the parameters of the new layout. And now what if I move a wire to a layer here which is not assigned to a layout, for instance layer 4, this newly created layer. I take this wire definition object just to change object layer, and basically nothing happens, or we don't see anything. What happened is it just created a new layout, and it took the parameters of the layout the wire comes from. It was layout 1, and layout with on layer 4 has now the same parameters as wire layout 1. Okay, this is everything I want to show you about layout parameters. I hope you enjoyed the video and enjoy MFis Wire.